How's everybody doing? A while back, James Rysek asked me for my chicken scarpiello meatballs. Every one of our friends, everyone that we know goes crazy for these chicken scarpiello meatballs. So what I thought I'd do is take a little bit of time today and show you exactly how we do it. It's very, very, very simple. So basically, we're going to start off with making the meatballs. It's basically equal parts of ground chicken and ground sausage, Italian sausage. So this is sausage out of the casing. A lot of you, in particular James, is going to be wondering why they have never seen such gorgeous sausage like that in their lives. That's because this is homemade at the Della Pesca house. Homemade Della Pesca Italian sausage. So basically about 3 pounds of ground chicken and 3 pounds of sausage meat. Okay? To this, impeccably clean hands, we're going to add 5 beaten eggs. Now I'm using jumbo eggs. It's usually an egg per pound, but because these are jumbo eggs, I've only used 5 of them because Geraldine yelled at me not to use any more than 5. So that's 5 beaten eggs. I think this was maybe 3 or 4 cloves of chopped, very minced garlic. Okay. Breadcrumbs. These were leftover toasted breadcrumbs. And a lot of parsley. I like a lot of parsley in the meatballs. And grated cheese. This is grated Pecorino Romano. I like a lot of cheese. Geraldine's going to yell at me about that too. And very, very finely chopped rosemary. Now this is definitely something you would never put in a meatball. Basically, this is a normal meatball recipe for us, other than the rosemary. Salt and pepper. And that's it for the meatballs. So all you need to do is get in here and do a good mix with your hands. Okay, I got that all mixed up, so it's pretty much homogenized. You know, it's one nice. Don't mix it too much because you don't want it to get too. It gets kind of gummy at that point. Basically what I try to do when I'm making these kinds of meatballs, the scarpiello meatballs, so now you see everything is combined in there. So you have sausage in there, you have chicken in there, and all of the good herbs and things. I don't want it too big of a meatball for this one. So basically, I don't know, maybe the size of a golf ball. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, actually that's a little too big. So right about there, okay? Now, there's a lot of variations about meatballs when it comes to either frying them or baking them. Normally, I would fry them, but we have a lot of meat here. A. B. Geraldine's going to yell at me for frying on the stove. And C. Going in the oven, you can do quite a lot of them. And it works pretty well anyway in the oven. You'll see when they come out. So, basically all you want to do is get a little bit of a tight roll. You don't need to put too much space in between. And keep going. I'm going to roast some potatoes, which is going to go with the meatballs. So just some sliced potatoes. I made some potato wedges. I think these are Yukon Gold, I think. A little bit of olive oil, generous amount of salt, some black pepper. And I have always ground rosemary. So this is just basically dry rosemary that you run through a spice grinder or a coffee grinder. So it's this powder. So it's powdered rosemary. And I'm fairly generous with that. And then that's it. Then you just toss them up. Put them on on a baking pan and we'll throw them in the oven. We'll crisp them up in the oven. Okay, so we have the oven preheated to about 400 degrees. I know it's a very hot oven, but you gotta cook these meatballs really quickly. So back over here, that 3 pounds of meat has translated into about 6 dozen meatballs. I realize that's probably a lot of meatballs for the normal. We have 8 people in our family, so this is going to be dinner for us, but obviously you can cut back and trim accordingly. So 6 pounds of total meat with all the other ingredients yielded me about 6 dozen golf-size meatballs. So we're going to throw these in the oven. Just 400 degree oven. We're going to probably have to rotate the trays later on. Don't ask me how long they cook, how long it takes them to cook, because I have no idea. We'll just have to go back and forth and we'll see. And then in the end, we'll give you a final time and how much that amounted to. Okay, so this part of it is just as easy as making the meatballs. We're going to be making the peppers and the sauce for the meatballs. So this is a very classic, typical Scarpiello sauce. It's made with the vinegar, cherry peppers, a good amount of garlic, some rosemary, the vinegar from the vinegar peppers, some chicken stock, and that's pretty much about it. You'll see how this whole thing progresses as we put it together. Everybody knows how to clean garlic. So you'll get a clove of garlic. These are pretty good sized cloves. Basically, to get the skin off, the tissue off, is just setting it down, laying a knife on it, and giving a little bit of a whack, and the skin comes right off. Okay? So for the peppers, I want all of this garlic. What I do is, I don't normally chop the garlic. What I'll do is I'll just give it a good smash. So each one is going to get a nice smash. This is going to really bring out the flavor of the garlic once it goes into the oil. Okay. That's about it for that. So we scoop this up. We have about, I don't know, a couple tablespoons of olive oil, just enough to coat the pan. Obviously, we use our pans quite a bit. You can tell by how black they are. So we really use our pans. We get a lot out of them. So into some good oil. I use extra virgin olive oil. For some reason, I just cook with extra virgin olive oil always. Don't ask me why. So once the oil is good and hot, or pretty hot anyway, these can go in and they can start browning. Okay, so we got the oil and the garlic sizzling in the pan. I set this up this way. I like the oil to pool on the one end of the pan, so I kind of prop this up. This is kind of dangerous, so just be careful with this. Once the oil starts going like this, I really turn it down all the way. So what's going to happen now is that the garlic is just going to sit there. That'll calm down. It'll sit there and it'll start slowly cooking, slowly cooking, and the garlic becomes much sweeter instead of as powerful as a garlic as it might be. So you'll see that this will just calm down in a minute or so, and that'll come back to temperature. I don't recommend this for everybody, but it's okay. And so far as the peppers are concerned, these are typical vinegar cherry peppers. You get some red ones in the jar, you get mostly green ones. Try to find ones that are red, it just gives a lot of nice color. No difference insofar as taste is concerned. All you need to do is take these, split them in half, and take the seeds out. What I do is I just use my thumb and I pop everything out, just like that. From there, I just rip them up. Now, when you get the jar of these, you're probably going to, in the supermarket, there's like a 28-ounce jar. I don't even know what the size of the jar is. You want to make sure you save the vinegar from the peppers, because that's where you get your Scarpiello sauce from. So we have here maybe 2 28-ounce jars of the cherry peppers and most of their juice. You can buy the cherry peppers already sliced in the jar, but I think they're different. Don't ask me why, but they're slightly different. The vinegar seems to be different in some way. So cherry peppers in vinegar, break them up like this into bite-sized pieces, or eating-sized pieces, with thinking about the meatball size, and we'll handle this in 1 second once the garlic is brown. Okay, so the garlic has been in the oil for every bit of 5 minutes, if not actually longer, but it's on a very, very, very low heat, the lowest heat that your stove will go. So this is where it comes into this little light, crispy, but they're very, very soft, and they're becoming very, very sweet. Okay, so this comes back off. We can crank up the heat a bit, give it a second or two. Into the oil, I'll put some red pepper flakes. So this is spicing it up a little bit. The peppers themselves are sweet peppers. They're not hot peppers. You can buy hot peppers, but they can be a little bit overpowering. So I always buy the sweet cherry peppers and vinegar, and then I use some heat of my own. Into the oil, I also put the rosemary. So this is, again, finely chopped rosemary. Excuse me, I'm choking. Much better. So into the oil, we'll do some of this finely chopped rosemary. Okay, all of it. Give that a minute or two. That's going to sizzle, and then we throw in the peppers. Basically, all this is kind of doing is just feeding everything through, and it gives the peppers a little more depth of flavor. Okay, so this just gets a little bit of a sauce. And we're going to let this go for a little while we do the sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this over. We'll start this up. Keep that on there. The sauce basically starts out, obviously we use our pans quite a bit. The sauce starts out with basically equal parts. We're going to make a roux. So equal parts of olive oil. Again, I use extra virgin. So I don't know, maybe 2 tablespoons, maybe not even. And equal parts of flour. So roughly you just have to eyeball this. So maybe that much to start. And we'll see how that goes. Back onto a low flame. And you want to get this into a little bit of a paste. I'll show you in a minute. Drop more flour. Hold on. And that's it. So that's about the consistency that you kind of want it. It's almost like a thick honey almost. Let it cook for a little while, although the sauce is going to cook too, so you don't want all that flour flavor in here. Okay. Once that is heated, basically you're going to take that generous amount, so this is at least 2 cups, I think. Yeah, 2 cups of the cherry pepper vinegar. Goes in. Give it a stir. Now, because of that roux, this is going to start getting thick. Once it comes up to temperature, you'll see that in a minute. Okay, so that last bit of stock that we put in has gotten thicker again, and we're just going to finish it off with the rest of this quart. So basically, insofar as liquid is concerned, you had 2 cups of cherry pepper vinegar, the vinegar from the cherry peppers, a quart of chicken stock, and from that, I always like to do a couple or a good swig of balsamic vinegar. The balsamic vinegar actually adds to the vinegar, but it also makes it a kind of a better, kind of a murky kind of a color. I'd rather have that than the yellow. You'll see them when it gets together with the meatballs. Okay, so the meatballs have been cooking at 400 degrees. They've been in my oven for about 45 minutes, but they can take maybe as long as an hour depending on your oven. Okay, so we're going to take out the larger tray, golden brown. And what we're going to do now is we're going to sauce them. They need to go back into the oven in a baking pan and let them bake in the sauce for a while longer. We'll figure that part out as well as we go along. So basically all you need to do is just kind of loosen these up, obviously very hot. Throw them into a nice big bowl that you can toss them around in. Go. They smell incredible, like they should. These are going to be a big hit. You can use these at your next party. You don't have to have them, we're having them for dinner, but these can be made a little bit smaller, and you can make this for more of a cocktail kind of a thing. Maybe even at the next kitchen cocktails. Can you imagine at kitchen cocktails? So from here, what we'll do is, we'll bring over the sauce that we made. See, everything has calmed down in here now. It's thick, but not overly thick. And it's kind of the right consistency, the right coloring from that balsamic vinegar. So basically all you're going to do is get these good and sauced, because you can't have enough sauce when it comes to this. Because later on, when we serve these with potatoes, you're going to want every bit of this sauce to dunk your potatoes in and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's good for now. What I'll do is I'll toss in some of the peppers and some of the garlic and some of the rosemary. Give this a little bit of a tossy toss. That's all you want to do. Okay. And then from there, excuse my wine. From there, you just put them in a nice roasting pan that will accommodate them. All with good sauce. Oops. Get them nestled down in there. Gorgeous, gorgeous. You might need a little bit more sauce. You want them like halfway up the meatball for all intents and purposes. Okay, cool. From there, we're just going to foil them. Nice and tight. And go back in the oven. It does not have to be 400 degrees. It should be more like around 350 at this point. So I'm going to turn down the oven to 350. They'll go back into the oven. Where am I? They'll go back into the oven for probably every bit of 45 minutes, maybe even a little longer. And we'll see that. Okay, so the meatballs have been in the oven, in the sauce in the oven for about 40 minutes, and they should be fine. It doesn't really need much longer than that. They just soften up in the sauce and they go nice. So let's plate this up. And we'll get ready for dinner. So here we go. Hot, hot, hot. The smell is just very powerful vinegar. You gotta really like that. I love it. We love it here. So let's see how we can do this real quick. So we have the meatballs, the peppers, that incredible sauce. potatoes still in the oven. Nice and crispy potatoes. Some room for potatoes. Okay. Leave the sauce for now. We have our very well-worn sheet pan here. I'll lay in the potatoes. Keep them nice and crispy. Let's see. Okay, nice. Last thing we'll do is scatter some more of these peppers on here. Yum. All that garlic. Yum. And then drop some of this sauce on. Okay. And that's all she wrote. Nothing better than that, huh? Hope you enjoyed it. Chicken scarpiello meatballs and some crispy potatoes from the Della Pesca family to your family. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you try it out yourselves. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and we hope to see you very, very soon at the club.